Since 2003, Hand Up for Women has walked alongside broken ladies as they seek to find hope. We help these women regain control of their lives through our structured classes and personalized long-term mentoring. Our program is built on a solid foundation of spiritual development, which is an essential aspect of success. We continue to see miraculous results and profound, permanent life change.
All that hard living, all of those scars and that damage, even the physical manifestation of that begins to go away. And then, of course, you just see the evidence in their countenance, the joy that's there. Emotionally, they're in a different place. The total person changes as a result of being introduced to Christ and then being discipled according to the Word.
These ladies, they want you to progress so much that they just have your best interest at heart. I mean, I can't say enough about Hand Up for Women.
I felt loved and at home from the very beginning, and it just kind of grew from there.
If you would like to help our cause, whether financially or through volunteering, or if you know someone who you'd like to bring to us, we would honor and appreciate that opportunity. What makes us different is illustrated by the graduate testimonials. They come here and are instantly embraced, never judged. We give them a family so that they know that this is a place that they can call home for the rest of their lives. A place where hope lives.
Good evening. Welcome to our 17th annual Gala for Hand Up for Women, our first virtual event. Our theme this evening is Winds of Change. My name is Dottie Sampsell. I'm president of the board of directors for Hand Up for Women, and I'm so excited and glad to welcome you here tonight to have this opportunity to share with so many of you at one time. We want to say right up front thank you to Beth and David Rayborn for their videography skills and helping us put together this virtual event. Without their help, we would not be able to do this tonight, so thank you so much. As I said, our theme for this evening is Winds of Change. You know, our ladies, when they come into this program, they have many changes they make in their lives. But because of the pandemic and COVID this year, we've all had to make changes in our lives. In fact, here at the ministry, we've had to rethink how we connect with people. With our participants, classes shut down for a couple of weeks in March, but we were able to start back with Zoom in April, and then at the end of April, we started back with bi-weekly classes again, with all the sanitation and health requirements that were required. We did have to stop doing the covered dish dinners, and our ladies really love them, and we thank so many of you for providing those in the past. We've moved to doing a sack lunch for right now. Hopefully in the near future, we'll be able to go back to those delicious dinners. Our supporters and donors, you all, we're able to do this gala tonight, and we can contact so many more people this way. If we had had our live in-person gala, we would be limited in numbers, but now there's no limit. And we thank our table hosts for doing such a good job of contacting all of you and letting you know about the changes, and including many more, because now the sky's the limit on our attendance, whether you come tonight and see the real thing or you view it at a later date. We thank you, everyone, for taking the time to be with us tonight. We've got a lot to cover tonight, and a little bit of time we're going to try to do it in. So, you've already seen a clip of our new video. You're going to hear testimonies from our participants and graduates in the program. You're going to get a tour of Duncan House and see where we do our ministry. You're going to hear from Mayor Jacobs. He was to have spoken at our real-time event, but he came by earlier and made a brief message that you all will hear in a few minutes. So we thank the mayor for coming by. And then last but not least, we're going to hear from our executive director, Eva Pierce. So grab your hats and get ready for a busy night. Again, thank you for coming. And now we're going to start our tour of Duncan House, where hope lives.
Thanks, Dottie. Our first stop on the tour of the house is the living room.
And I've got Joy Bright, who's one of our graduates, with me to talk a little bit about how special this room is and some of the things that have happened here that have meant a lot to all of us. Well, when we first bought Duncan House, this was the Duncan family's dining room, but we made it our living room, and when the ladies come for class, this is where everybody tends to congregate. And besides the day-to-day just fun little times that we have catching up with each other, we've had some really neat special times here too. And I know you will remember last Christmas, I think it was.
Oh yes, last Christmas with the three girls sitting in the floor opening up. They were like, and these are older girls, and they were like little kids, a 3-year-old just opening up their first toy, and this was a bag of soup. And they're so excited for that. And then one girl, a pair of polka dot pajamas.
Right.
Oh no, I can't believe this. It's what she wanted.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You know, something else that is real amazing too about being here in the living room and just walking through the front door. As today I came and I was not in the best of humor, but the moment I walk in and I start fellowshipping with the ladies here, it lives. It's such a blessing.
And we have special buddies too. This is Little Bit, and that's Baby, and they're part of the family too. And sometimes when the ladies come here, I think they look forward more to seeing them than they do the people, and that's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're all four-legged lovers.
That's true. So, of course, like any other home, food is a part of everything we do here, just about. So the next stop on our tour is the kitchen, where Mary Frances is going to tell you a neat little story.
All right, and now we're in the kitchen, and like any home, this is the heart of the home. This is where everybody gathers before class, and we have volunteers that bring dinners to each and every class. And also now during the COVID season, they're even bringing prepackaged bagged dinners, which we really appreciate. And this is where I've learned to cook a lot. And in fact, I'm so clueless at cooking that my mentor was helping me on the phone, and I was struggling to find a whisk one day, and she actually sent me a picture of a whisk so that I could know what I was dealing with. So anyway, she even went so far as to purchase me a couple of whisks. So now we've got whisks at the house, and she's helped me a lot to learn to cook. That's just who she is. She's wonderful, generous, and we've become so close. If you think about it, we're women of all sorts of walks, from all walks of life, and it's just a great time to come together as a family. It really is like a family, and to sit down with people that you would have probably never been friends with before and really get close to these women and grow together.
Now that Mary Frances has explained to you what we do in the kitchen, after we eat in the kitchen on class nights, we come to the classroom. Here we have different classes with amazing instructors. We have Faith and Finance, Making Peace with Your Past, Card class, and the Elegant Woman class, and a few more. We all get together and our instructor discusses the class with us. We share a lot of hope and prayer in this classroom. This is a safe place for us to express how we feel and tell the truth, and we don't have to worry about it leaving here. And not only do people listen, they offer us, you know, ways out, ways around, or ways to get through whatever it is we're going through. And also we have graduates and mentors that come during class nights, and that gives us hope too, seeing how far they've came. One of the benefits of coming to class is we get barber bucks. We earn barber bucks for each class we come to and the homework that we do. And with the barber bucks, we get essentials that we need for our homes and hygiene. And to learn more about that, I'll send you to Barbara.
Thank you, Sam, for talking about barber bucks. I'm happy to show you our barber buck mart, and I welcome you to it. This is a barber buck. This is what they earn. They're just like Monopoly money or something like that. And they earn them for several things: for being in class on time and staying through the whole class, for doing their homework. They can bring their bulletin from church and get a Barbara Bucks, and several other things. The important thing, as far as they're concerned, is that these are all items that you can't get with food stamps. People go to the store and they think that, well, you can buy anything with food stamps, but you really can't. So it's a combination kind of feminine products, shampoo, nail polish, hairspray, all kinds of body wash and lotion, you know, the things that you use every day, and also some things that you use at home, like laundry detergent and your cleaner of all kinds and your bleach. Everything that is in here was donated. None of this comes out of the budget for Hand Up for Women. It's donated either by individuals, or sometimes an organization will have a service project and take us on, you know, and bring some things. And it's just amazing how well people have done that, that we've never had to stop it for any reason, or had anything, you know, that we couldn't give the girls that they really needed. Now that I've told you about Barbara's Bucks, we're going to move on and go see Bee's apartment. Bee's our house mother, and has a very nice apartment that we would love for you to see.
Thank you, Barbara. Right now we're in my room. This is the house manager's bedroom, and this is where I get my beauty sleep. And I started out as a participant, and I lived in one of the bedrooms upstairs. And the whole point of this program is to get you to the point where you can be self-sufficient, independent. The next step from being a participant and living up there is I was asked to be a house manager from Eva. Being a house manager is very important. It's a lot of responsibility. You want to make sure that the girls that comes into the house after you, you help build them up. You lead by example. You show what integrity means. You just help guide them along their own journey, whatever that may be. Being in this house, it's just a safe place to be. As house manager, one of the things that I do before I go to bed at night is I make sure all the doors are locked. I make sure the alarm is set. And you just have that sense of security and comfort, knowing that you fall asleep and nothing's going to happen to you. So I really want to show you where my morning begins, where my morning talks with God begins. Usually I sit down here, and me and God have a little talk. And it's also a perfect place for the puppies to run. There's plenty of yard and plenty of toys that they play with. And it's just a really peaceful place. So this is the end of my tour. There are several people that God has put in place to make this Hand Up for Women a good and smooth running operation. So right now I'm going to hand it over to Eva.
Oh, hey, welcome to our Hand Up for Women office. You know, in 2015, when we first started talking about buying our own place, I did a little poll with our graduates and asked them what kind of place they would like to see us be in. And resoundingly, the answer was a house, because they feel like it's a home for them. But we wanted to be in a place where we could have office space in the same building without it feeling like the ladies were living in somebody's business. So when we found Duncan House, the bottom level was at that time just a concrete cinder block basement. But we were able to raise not just the $220,000 to buy the house, but also extra money to renovate what you see, from a cinder block basement to our office suite. They keep me in an office by myself, so I can't bother anybody. However, everybody else is out in the open. This is Karen Mills. She's our site coordinator. She works with the ladies in every aspect then when they're in the program. She has one of the hardest jobs, I think, setting up meal schedules. I would rather write $1 million grant than deal with a meal schedule, but she does it great. And then here we have Bee Bowman, who you saw earlier in her capacity as house manager. She's also part-time office staff, and that gives us time to deal with other issues that normally would have gone off to the side and not been dealt with in a timely fashion. And then there in the other corner is Lisa Costner. She is our administrative coordinator and also our facility manager. So she does everything from paying bills and keeping the books and donor management to cutting vines off the fence in the backyard. So she's our Jacqueline of all trades. So this is our office, and thankfully it's on a level away from the rest of the house. The ladies can come and go, feel like they're in a home, but we still have our office here with them.
Just amazing. I'm so glad I gave it a chance and stuck with it, because I don't ever want to be back where I was before.
I would not be alive right now without every one of those ladies. I didn't know that life could be this good. I gave up a long time ago, and these ladies have put that light back in me by helping me get a relationship with God.
It's life-changing, completely. It's the best thing I've ever done for myself.
I didn't know life could be this good. It's life-changing, the best thing I ever did for myself. I wouldn't be alive today without it. That's what Hand Up for Women does. We change lives, sometimes we even help save lives. Good evening, I'm Eva Pierce, and for the last 18 years, I've had the honor of being the executive director for Hand Up for Women. But tonight, I'm live at Duncan House as your Mistress of Ceremonies for our virtual gala. My favorite part of this job is watching the ladies' transformation from the day I meet them when they're completely hopeless and have no vision at all for a better future, to what you'll hear tonight. So, let's get right to it. You're about to hear Samantha Shoemate tell her story for the first time outside our walls. When I met Sam, she told me her goal was to be the first person in her family to break the cycle of addiction and crime, and it's happening.
I have 6 brothers. My grandparents raised me and one of my older brothers. We were poor, but you know, it was still a good family home. My brother, who is my best friend still to this day, went to prison when I was 12, and that just sent me like downhill. I got with a boy when I was 13, and by the time I was 16, we was married. And by the time I was 19, we were divorced. And that's when my drug addiction started. I got arrested for selling drugs twice and carrying a weapon. They gave me 8 years probation, and I had a complete drug court, which I completed in 15 months. And I still have 6.5 years more probation, but I'm doing very well. And I think one of the reasons I'm doing so well is because of Hand Up for Women. I had been clean for a year from drugs, but I was still The only thing I was doing right was not using drugs. I wasn't happy still. My heart was still cold. And my manager, who also came through this program, she kept pressuring me, telling me, please go, please sign up, you'll love it, you need it. And finally I did. She never told me it was like a faith-based program, or I probably wouldn't have came, because I had lost that part of me during my addiction. You know, and it's just, it would kind of scare me away, you know. And when I got here, I was like, oh, you know, but everybody was so welcoming and loving, and, you know, it's kind of gave me a reason to stay. The thing that put me at ease was Eva. She interviewed me, and she told me a little bit about her story, and I thought, well, this is not going to be so bad because she understands. She was very understanding and caring. I live at a Hand Up for Women at the Duncan House. It's very peaceful. I've never lived at a place like this before. I feel at ease, I can sleep peacefully. It's helping me get ahead. When I need advice, it's right here. I can smile now. I actually have compassion toward other people. I care about other people. I care about myself now. My relationship with God is more than what I never thought it would be. What has changed the most for me, and I can't get over it, because since I was 12, my heart's just been, you know, I haven't been happy. I'm happy now, genuinely. It's brought Jesus back into my life, for one, and that's who guides me. But being here just changed my heart. Before I came here, my heart was still cold, you know. I definitely want to have a better relationship with God and Jesus, because it's not where I want it to be right now, but it's getting better. I want to stay here as a family, which I know that's kind of what Hand Up for Women's about. I want to be able to mentor other women like me. I'd like to be in the recovery community. As I am right now, I just want to further that and go to school. This is one of the greatest programs I've probably ever seen. And there's not, as I said, there's not been many things that have changed me. I was a really tough one to crack. And this program has changed me, and I know there's other women out there like me. And for this to keep going, we need money to keep going. And it would be amazing if more and more women could come in here just like me and get the help as I did.
We've had a lot of support from our community here in Knox County. When Mayor Glenn Jacobs was elected as our county mayor, I emailed his office just a few days after and requested a meeting to tell him about a Hand Up for Women. To my surprise, I got a call the next day, and a few days later, I and a graduate of mine were sitting in Mayor Jacobs' office, and he was listening intently to her story. So when I asked him to be a part of this event, I wasn't surprised when he said yes, because he believes in our work, because he knows that all it takes to change generational patterns is for one person to introduce a different way of living. He's going to tell you a story. Here's why he knows.
Hey, I'm Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with all of you. Thank you to Hands Up for Women for all the work that they do, to their staff, to the supporters, and everyone who makes this program possible. And thank you to the women who participate. Thank you for being willing to step outside of your comfort zone and to change your life. It's a big step. It's an important step. It's one that takes a lot of courage, but it's also one that you can do. especially with the help of the wonderful people at Hands Up for Women. I'd like to share a story with you. Of course, as many of you know, I spent a long time in World Wrestling Entertainment as the character Kane. Year before last, I was at WrestleMania, which is our big event of the year. It's like the Super Bowl for professional wrestling. A couple nights before the WrestleMania event, they have the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, which of course is just as it sounds, where they take people who have made great contributions to our sport and recognize them and put them into the Hall of Fame. So one of the inductees was actually a tag team called Harlem Heat. There's, of course, two members, Stevie Ray and another gentleman named Booker T. Booker T's a friend of mine. I've known him for a long time. Stevie Ray and Booker T are brothers that grew up in Houston, Texas. They had a really rough childhood. They had, I forget how many brothers and sisters, but they grew up in a single parent home. Their mom was the only person, their dad had left. Just one of those stories where the family went through really hard times and didn't exactly have Booker T and Stevie Ray and their siblings, didn't exactly have a springboard into an easy life by any stretch of the imagination. But they both became very successful in the field of professional wrestling. As I was sitting there watching their induction speech, however, it really, one thought stuck out in my mind. And that thought was, there's no way that Booker T should be standing where he's standing. He's actually a two-time inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame because he was a multi-time world champion, so he went in as a singles wrestler, and now he's going in with his brother as a tag team wrestler. But there is no way that someone like Booker T should be going into the WWE Hall of Fame because Booker T should have been in jail or he should have been dead. The reason I say that was because when Booker was 19 years old, he was arrested for armed robbery. And he went to federal prison for 2 years. He's a young African-American man with a felony and prison time. So you tell me what his life trajectory should have been. I'll tell you what it should have been. The odds are that it should have been straight down from there. And he should have ended up in a gang, in a life of crime, back in prison, maybe getting out of prison, back in prison again, and probably at some point, probably a violent death. But there he is at the pinnacle of our profession. And not only that, he's a great entrepreneur, has his own businesses, has a lovely family, great, just beautiful set of twins. He's a pillar of his community. And how is it that Booker T could have changed the trajectory of his life? A lot of it had to do with the man that he was standing in the ring with, his brother Stevie Ray. Because when Booker T got out of prison, Stevie Ray says, "Hey man, do you want to go back to prison?" Of course, Booker's like, "No, I don't." He's like, "Okay, I'm going to get you a job working where I work. But you have to walk the narrow path. It's yes, sir, no, sir. That's it." And that's what he did. He worked at a janitor at the warehouse where Stevie Ray was working, was a good employee. Eventually, Stevie Ray was actually the guy that wanted to get into wrestling. So he and Booker went to the owner of the company of the warehouse and say, "Hey man, we'd like to do this wrestling deal. We need some time off here or there." The guy actually paid for their wrestling lessons and helped them buy their first outfits and all that stuff. And from there, the rest is history. And the ironic part is that Booker T actually had a much more successful career than Stevie Ray did. But nevertheless, there he is. Someone whose life should not have turned out like it did. And I think there are two reasons for that. One of them is he had a support system. Stevie Ray's a big dude. And when he told Booker T what he was going to do, I'm pretty sure that Booker T was going to do it or else. Not all of us have a Stevie Ray in our life. Not all of us have a family who is there for us when horrible things happen to us, when we do terrible things, when we make mistakes, when the bottom falls out of our life. And for those of us who don't have that family, that's why organizations like Hand Up for Women are so important, because they're the people that can help you. And they're the people that are going to tell you you're going to have to walk a narrow path. But you can do it, and you can turn your life around. And number two is Booker had to make the decision in his own mind of what he wanted out of his life. All too often, we believe the situation that we are in is what defines us, and we can't change it. And that's not true. If you change your mind and you decide that you want something different in your life, you can do it. Now, there's often a lot of obstacles in the way. I mean, that's more easily said than done. But you can do it if you make the decision that you're going to change your life no matter what happens. You can do it. And with a support system like Hands Up for Women, you can really do it. So again, I would just like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you. And I can't tell you how impressed that I've been by the work that Hands Up for Women does and how many lives they've changed. It's not only that, it's not the lives that they've already changed, but it's the ripple when you throw a stone into a pond. Because they change a life, and then that life goes out and changes other lives. So I encourage you all, keep doing what you're doing, work with these folks, and you can change your life. And you can do anything you want to do. You just got to believe that. Thank you very much.
For our ladies is that they become self-sufficient but God dependent, because you can teach people all the skills in the world, but that life has to be built on a foundation of faith in order to withstand challenges that come without reverting back to old habits. Hand Up for Women is for any woman who is broken and hopeless with no vision of a better life. They come from all backgrounds, situations, and ages. In fact, the ladies you're meeting tonight are 26, 35, and 61. You can decide who's who. Joy Bright was a medical professional from a happy, middle-class family when her life was turned upside down. Let's meet Joy.
Okay, growing up, I had a very good childhood growing up. We did a lot of camping trips. My dad was a firefighter, along with doing construction work. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. So life was good. And about the age of 13, I decided not to be so good anymore. Took my first drink, decided that, one bottle of wine wasn't enough, and so I drank both of them. Daddy walked me all over South Knoxville trying to sober me up. But things went on from there. At age 16, I became pregnant, had a daughter. She is now 43. But, it was good. My downfall, like I said, started at age 13. Getting older at 16, being forced to get married. That was not one of the best things, and it was one marriage after another, after another, after another. Companionship and love. I was and looking in all the wrong places, because it was just whoever, that would work at the time, and that's what I was looking for. I didn't know me, so I had to have somebody that I could take care of, be of importance to. Not so much now. As far as my professional life, that did not come around until I was 30. Got my nursing degree, ended up getting x-ray license, wonderful. I worked in the medical field for 20 some odd years up until that drugs came into my life then, along with the alcohol, and ended up losing my nursing license, losing my x-ray license, was involved in a horrific automobile accident, which I was not able to return to work. Even if I could go back to work in nursing, I was unable physically to return to work. Even then, that did not stop me. It wasn't until finally arrested, thrown in jail, went to treatment. I guess I was in jail for about 3-4 months, then did 30 days at Buffalo Valley, down around Nashville. I left there and come to a sober living facility, which I stayed 9 months at, and I'm still involved with that. I heard about Hand Up from Women from a participant at the time, B. Bowman, and she told me all about it, and I was real excited, and I filled out the application, and then I told B, I said, you know, somebody else needs that position worse than I do. And I said, I don't think I'm going to go to my interview. And B talked me into coming to the interview. You know, I'm thinking these snobby old church women, that's the least I need to deal with. You know, their nose are gonna be in the air and I'm gonna feel like scum, worse than what I did at the time. But I did, I came and I found out it was for me, and it was exactly what I needed. I was going through a 12-step program. I had came back to the Lord and renewed my faith and my trust in Him, but I was missing something, and it's through Hand Up for Women that I found what I was missing, and it was the balance in my life. I had to have that balance. You know, 12-step programs, I'm behind them all the way, but I had to have Hand Up for Women for my faith and the women that I'm around. I was very surprised at my interview. I just knew that the director was going to be looking down her nose at me, and as I told my story and things that had happened in my life, she cried along with me. I will never forget the love that she's shown and the love that the women have shown to me in this program. And I can go to anyone today and say, will you help me? And sometimes I don't even have to say, I need help. They see it and they're there for me. And that's something I have never experienced. So I am very grateful for that. Oh, I'm so grateful every morning that I get up. I'm grateful that God opens my eyes that I can get up and I can breathe, and even though with some of my disabilities I'm still able to do, and He has guided me every step of the way. I have girls that I sponsor, I have girls that I mentor. I always try to give back. There was a point I had to slow down because I was overextending myself and wanting everybody, listen to me, and I had to slow down and take time for myself. And today, again, I have found that balance. Oh my, Hand Up for Women, giving money to them. If someone hadn't gave money when I came along, then I wouldn't be able to sit here today and tell my story and to be confident in what I'm doing. I wouldn't have, the materials wouldn't have been there for me to be able to learn computer classes, our bookworking classes, our financial classes. For the women that are in this class, those are tremendous things. I'm able now to go out and share what I have learned here with others, and if you don't give, then there's going to be nothing.
About 6 years ago, Mike Jones, at the end of his interviewing class, approached Karen and said he couldn't believe any of the ladies in his class were convicted felons, especially a very soft-spoken,
pretty brunette. Well, when Karen told him that this brunette had just come out of several years in federal prison, we thought we were going to have to get the smelling salts for Mike. That brunette was Christina Duncan. Here's her story.
I was in my early 20s, early 20s, started an abusive relationship. That was the first relationship that I was in that became abusive. And from there, it wasn't even a matter of, like, I didn't want to use drugs. It was actually the person that I was dating used drugs. And, you know, we were together for probably months before I ever started using. And then he, you know, wanted me to begin using with him. And so it ended up being a forced thing. I ended up moving away from him, but at that point, I was already addicted to him, and I stopped when I moved away. I moved states, and I stopped, but then I got injured and got a prescription for pain pills, and that was the drug that we were using at that time, was pain pills. And so once I got that prescription, I just right back into addiction. So I ended up in another bad relationship, one that I didn't want to be in, but was essentially kidnapped or aggravated burglarized, so they call it, and forced into a relationship that I didn't want to be in and I couldn't get out of. Tried to run away from and couldn't, and for about a year and a half was in that relationship, involved in making methamphetamines, and got arrested. Went to jail for that. Ended up finally getting away from that person because he went to jail for something else. And then about a year and a half later, the federal marshals were looking at him for other charges and went back to where we were arrested together. And so I got charged with conspiracy and sent to federal prison. And while many people probably think that's a horrible experience, for me, I don't regret it at all, because it totally set me back from my life and allowed me to look at it and from a bigger picture, for a bigger perspective, and see what my life was. And you know, just learn that there is another opportunity or another way of life, which is what I didn't know. I never knew there was another way of life. Everybody I knew was, you know, in drugs and just in a crazy lifestyle, and that's the people that I was surrounded with, and that's all I knew. I knew, even in the midst of my addiction, that I wanted to be different. This is not who I wanted to be, but I had no knowledge to be any different at all, and so I felt stuck. And then at one point didn't even want to live anymore. I just thought, what was the point in living if this was it? Then there was no other way. And but that's when God graciously opened up the doors to prison for me to go in and be set apart from all of that, and to see from a different view that there is something better. When I first moved to Knoxville, I came here to a halfway house from being released from prison. It was actually not from here, but this is where I came. And I met my father-in-law at work, and he introduced me to Eva and to Hand Up for Women, and I, you know, came into the program. And I think many people, when me first coming in, you know, when I think about what did I learn while I was in the program, or what was the most significant thing, and I think, you know, I almost feel like it was more or less after, because I was so reserved when I came in. It was hard for me to open up and talk, and that's just because of, you know, my past history. I didn't know how to trust people, because I never really knew anybody that, you know, truly cared about me, really, and about, you know, just anybody that I could trust. And so coming in, it was kind of, you know, hard to open up and to really let loose of my emotions and what I felt and what I'd been through, because I was afraid of being judged, or, you know, shame, or, you know, that anybody really truly cared about it, or, you know, if they were just, you know, here to maybe feel better about themselves, or who knows what. And because that's just all I knew. And, you know, it took, after getting out of the program and then coming back and walking alongside other women who were in the same position that I'm in, and seeing their hurts and their pains and relating to that, and knowing that, you know, I could relate to that and talk to them and open up and trust each other. And so as I've come back to the program and, you know, continue to stay in touch, I've learned to open up more, and it's just been great to walk alongside of everybody and have that community of women that I absolutely did not have before. So I am currently on the board of directors, trying to figure out how I can get back into mentoring. I did mentor, and I really did enjoy that. Of course, life is a little bit crazy and hectic now with a new little one and just work and life, but I do love just coming back and being a part of the graduates and being a part of the board and figuring out ways to truly serve the women in the program who continually come in and how to be better and how to make their lives better and give them more opportunity and just be there for them. I don't think of a Hand Up for Women as a program, number one, because I graduated in 2015, we're in 2020 and I'm still here. Most programs that you hear about, it's 28 days or it's maybe a year long or whatever, and we do classes for a year, but it's not done after that. And even being in prison, I did a 500-hour drug treatment program, which was a 10-month program, and it was a great program, and it helped me truly change the way I think and my perspective about life and circumstances. But at the end of the day, that's it. I don't have any communication with those people. Granted that was in prison, but even going into rehab, it's not. And not that I've been to rehab, but I've known people that have gone. You're there for 28 days and you leave, and that's it. You're trying to figure out life on your own still. And after 28 days, and even after 10 months, you don't really have the capacity to do that after years and years and years of addiction and wrong choices. So I wouldn't say that this is a program. It is a lifelong commitment if you let it be. And so I would say give, because for me, not having a community of people to trust or a community of people that I could lean on or trust growing up or in the life that I was in, no support of somebody to say, this is the way to walk in it and let me walk with you. And to be able to do that even after the program is over, in every circumstance of life, whether when I got married, when, I was having, problems that I didn't know how to cope with because I didn't know that growing up, or was in previous bad relationships and trying to live in a good relationship now but not knowing how to do that, being able to just call and meet and talk. It's a lifelong change, and it's a community of people to grow with and to live life with. So it's beyond a program, but yes, it takes money to do that. And so I would say yes, give, please.
Occasionally, someone will hear me telling the story of one of our women and ask if it's appropriate for me to talk about it. Well, the truth of the matter is, they not only give me their permission to share, but they encourage me to do so. And here's why. Number one, they believe that their story may be the key that unlocks some woman's personal prison. And secondly, Scripture says that God inhabits the praise of His people. So when their stories are told, He's pleased because it brings glory to Him. I frequently tell them that God works at a time and in a way that makes it so it could only be Him. That's the only explanation for everything that's happened at Hand Up for Women, including our funding. We're pros at doing a lot of work with not a lot of money. We've been frugal and we have no debt. Now, having thousands of volunteer hours and material donations, that helps immensely, and my staff will tell you they're not getting rich, but it still takes $6,000 to put one woman through our year-long program. We're trying to increase our profile in the community, and marketing takes money. The reason that we want more people to know about us is it's so hard to have a grieving parent tell me, if I had known about Hand Up for Women, my daughter might still be alive today. Marketing is something that we must do because we must let people know we're here. As we all know, a house takes money to repair and maintain, and Duncan House is no exception. We also have big plans to expand our ability to house women who are doing exceedingly well in the program, like Sam. Because of living at Duncan House, she's able to pay off debt and be able to go to school. The ladies hear me often say that in order to thrive and to change your life permanently, you have to have new playmates and a new playground. They find both here, but our playground needs a little expansion. So, you know, this is a fundraiser. There are 3 ways to donate tonight. First of all, since you're on the internet already, as soon as we're done, you can go to our website at handupforwomen.org and find the donate button on our homepage. Or you can mail a check to P.O. Box 3216, Knoxville, Tennessee 37927. And I give you the zip code and the full address because you don't have to live in Knoxville to donate. I have friends from high school in Bluefield, West Virginia that have donated. I have family watching all over the country, so you're not excluded. The third way, you can set up an automatic withdrawal by calling our office at 865-525-9696. Or if you were sitting at a hosted table, your table hosts have Vanco forms that will tell you how to do that automatic withdrawal. I hope that tonight has been a source of positive, feel-good encouragement at a time when we all need to be reminded that God's still at work because of people like our volunteers and our donors. We appreciate you being patient with some technical difficulties. You just saw us have our 2020 episode. But the good news is, and a little bit later, we'll have a version of the gala posted on our page, and you'll hear me do the whole shebang of my speeches, so you may just want to quit while you're ahead. But I want to add another round of big time thanks to David and Beth Rayborn, who stepped forward to make this happen tonight. It would not have happened without them. So let's close the evening with a prayer. If everyone will bow your heads wherever you are. Heavenly Father, thank you for Hand Up for Women. Thank you for all these lives that you have enabled us to come alongside, and thank you that we get to be your hands and feet to these ladies. Lord, we ask that all the folks that have watched tonight and the ones that will watch in the days ahead, Lord, that you will work in their heart and show them if maybe they might want to invest in our work because we depend on them. But Lord, first and foremost, we depend on you. Lord, thank you for getting us through hard times with the peace that passes understanding. We love you, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen. Now, remember, if you want to see it again, you can go back and watch it. Tell your friends that they can come back to our Hand Up for Women Facebook page and watch it if they missed tonight. So, thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your evening.